that mindset, being broke and drifting. It's like we shouldn't be broke and drifting. We should be thriving and successful in drifting. How do we get people to be successful and thrive in drifting? It's like we do it because we're passionate behind it, but drivers should not be going broke.
Yeah, I think there is a transitional period between, sort of I don't want to call it the grassroots effort, but I think where there's the movement into the pro style of drift motorsport, which is still developing from that side of the house, right? So if you were to look at IMSA or you're to look at NASCAR, that very, very well established, huge partner and sponsorship relationships, TV deals, all the things necessary that bring in all of the money. And I think this is still an emerging place, and because of that, it takes time, and I think that's one of the challenges that you see with that. Is
you think that's what it is?
I think it's a big part of it. Yeah, I do. I think the popularity of it is growing at a very. I mean, there isn't anybody that I know, that we're affiliated with who is not extremely passionate about drifting. But I think the historical acceptance of it and the change or the transition from the grassroots perspective to the professional perspective is a little bit different. It'd be a great question to ask our next guests, our last interview. So Will Passant is going to come on. I'll bet you he has some good...
Yeah, I think Will's already in. What's up, Will?
Is Will in?
Yo.
Yeah, what's up, big Will? Sorry, you've been yapping, dude. Please chime in.
No, you're good. I was waiting for my cue,
Here's your cue, brother.
There it is, dude.
What's up?
How you doing, bro?
Good. Just kind of helped my friend get his subframe out at my house, and he's going to replace the bushings and do all that stuff, and helped him get that.
Did you have to torch them out?
No, so what we did was we hammered out the inner side, so we drilled it with a hole saw, and then hammered it out, and then he's going to take it home and use a chisel and do it all himself. I ran out of time because I was hopping on the interview with you guys, and I needed a shower, so. But I did put the car on my lift, and we did it that way, so he was more than grateful, and we put in the time, so that's all that matters.
Dude, big W. Oh yeah, well, good shit, brother.
Thank you. Gotta help the homies when they need it,
Oh yeah.
I think that's another part of the sport that is one of the greatest sides is that the willingness of everybody to jump in and help is second to none.
For the most part, right? Everyone's really down to help, even in competitions, for instance, UDC, I blew a coupler and I was trying to make it back on track in my 5-minute allotted time, and Eric with the E36, or E46 and 36, he ran over and started helping me, and he's competing against me, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen that situation several times, which is, it says a lot about the importance of the event and the competition as much about winning, because if you didn't do that, you're going to win into the battle.
Oh, definitely.
So sort of, let's bring this back to what we were just talking about when you jumped in. What are your thoughts on that transition, or where you see, drifting and, its direction and the acceptance and maybe even the more mainstream, where brand partnerships have more impact?
Is that for me?
I think it's for both. I'll say Will did it. Yeah,
I could see it definitely going mainstream because you have a lot more kids coming into the sports and coming to local events that can't afford drift cars yet, and they're underage to get on track, and they're super enthusiastic about getting in on it, and that opens up the market for it to be marketable, because those kids that are coming in, those companies want to start selling to them, like Moza, for instance. I heard you guys talking about them. I just picked up a Moza wheel because they were highly sought out after, and it's a big step up from Logitech and Thrustmaster and all that, so.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, Jay, I have a couple different opinions on it. One thing is the perception thing, right? think about this. Like, this is my first perspective. It's like, think about it like you do an IMSA race and one of the guest drivers is on being interviewed, right? He's like, ate another cup of noodles just to be here this weekend. We're all struggling. It's like, that's not a good look on the series, right? You know what I mean? Or Formula One, imagine like Max Verstappen's like, oh, fuck, I'm broke, trying to race. It's like, yeah, we all do that because it's the thing what we want to do. But then you start looking at, okay, well, what is the series or what is drifting providing? Well, it's the lowest cost of barrier of entry in any motorsports, right? So anybody can step foot into it. Also, you look at the age demographic, which is 18 to 45, 50 years old, right? So the demographic is more than what most motorsports are experiencing now between, I'd say next to supercar, right? Outside of that, it's like you look at NASCAR, you look at Intra, you look at IMSA, a lot of these people are considered old heads, right? These are people that are like, how do we get the younger generation? So I would say it's like, I almost disagree. Money and partnership should be a lot more achievable in drifting because of the resource and the capabilities to bring in new people. You're hitting the audience that people want to hit to say, you know what, I can create a fan when they turn 18 years old all the way up to 40, 50, 60 years old, because it's still a thing. It's not like you're trying to bring them in to a sport that is, once again, traditionally older people, gentlemen drivers. Not many people are looking to build a, time attack Aston Martin or anything like that. So, I don't know. My perception is much different than everybody else's.
I agree with
We
that.
have everything.
Because, like, for instance, I was a big skateboarder, but once I tore my meniscus, it kind of, like, I had to put in perspective, like, how much longer did I want to keep jumping down big shit? And drifting,
totally.
you don't get as hurt, so, like, you could definitely keep going with drifting for a long time, so...
That's what they say, with age comes a cage, Will.
I got a cage, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. So I think in both instances there's truth to that, and I think one of the separations between, and this is someone coming from traditional road racing, who when I met you, Corey, was just not relatively recently exposed to drifting, but I come from traditional road racing where the perception of the why was, why would you do this? It's judged, cutting across the finish line is the goal, and the judge circumstance, how is that done? But what is missing in that equation is the importance of the barrier to entry or lack of barrier, like to your point, and then bringing in what Will was just saying is if you're coming in, I come from skateboarding as a younger person as well, and the lack of interest in having a rule set becomes a central factor there, and I think there's some disconnect between the competition.
But do you even think that's the same on the higher level? Like the higher level, even like Hot Pits or these other larger organizations, like the rule sets are pretty set in, like grassroots, of course, but that's also, you consider that as like a run what you brung Friday Night Drag type of thing. So it's like,
you could, but if you were going up through go-kart racing, the rule set in go-kart racing is rigid as can be, and if you're going to go into quarter midgets or into any other, the rule sets are extremely rigid, and so the comprehension of that gap between those two mindsets has to be crossed in a way that is like, okay, I think from a demographics perspective, like we were talking about, 100%, you have a huge market, social media driven, big consumer capabilities, but there's this lack of understanding of the connection between the competition side and the grassroots side and how those two.
you think that for reals? Like that, you really think that's the thing?
I think there's some. I do.
Because I think, think about that, right? Like you're looking at them not as a competition, but as enthusiasts, right? So it's like these people are. So look at this, like you get there's ATVs, which is like, oh, I got a fun car, I go out and drive. It's like, I don't think the perception of people looking at the high skill of road racing, look at those guys, it's like, I don't know, there's not much of a barrier of entry, or the rules are different. So I think it's like, you're comparing different levels to this. I think the grassroots is just an enthusiast-based thing where people can go out and enjoy their cars, but it's also still a market, right? So
Definitely.
You kind of use that as a feeder, not necessarily a judgment on investing into.
Like for instance,
as a-
I'm gonna jump in real quick. So like how you're saying
Yeah.
grassroots and stuff like that. Like there's a big market with all types of companies because you got people that want to do the knuckle setup by like OMD, but then you want those. The other kids want WiseFab and they want hella angle and they want to drop that $1,500 on an angle kit. So you have both perspectives with higher companies and lower end companies where there's a market for everybody, right? And if more companies jump in, like tire companies, for instance, other than like Zeknova and all these other ones, like I run a Lexani tire sometimes. They're like $50 a pop and they last me all freaking day on a grassroots event. So I wish bigger
Do you
companies
think,
jumped
let me
in.
ask you this, Will, do you think like brands look at you as a potential consumer of the product, which you endorse a higher or an official series to influence the enthusiasts or grassroots guys to purchase product based on their investment into the professional side?
I don't
Like,
think
isn't
they
that-
look at it like that yet, because there's not, like for instance, there's money to be made, but I don't think there's enough money to be made, if that makes sense.
In what regards?
Like for instance, we'll say Rockstar, right? They sponsor a lot
Yeah.
of FD drivers. But do you really think they sell a lot of Rockstar product because of FD? I doubt it. It's just
No,
another.
but I think, well, you want to hear my opinion now?
Yes.
Is, let me give you an analogy real quick. So, what was, you know what last year's like championship was, or which has been like for the past few years?
No, because I don't even pay attention.
Yeah, it's Nitto, right?
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
Nitto.
yeah. Okay.
Right, of course. So Nitto, so you look at Nitto, and how many, when you go to grassroots events, how many people are running on Nittos?
None.
None, right? But they use it for an opportunity because now they have a championship winning brand, right? That's so like every company may have an idea on what they're looking to get out of investing in. Some people invest in to say they have a championship winning product, which is a, you know, catch to itself, right? You can use it on publications, magazines, brochures, videos, highlight reels, SEMAs. You got a championship race winning product. But the other time is you got to make sure you have a product that could be afforded by the grassroots guys, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to be spending $400 on a NT 555 every single lap. You know what I mean? So I don't think they have that tire, but I still think there is major opportunities on multiple sides, and I think a lot of companies are. It's just there's multiple motives, and then you got to figure out what can you do to please the motive of that company. I truly believe that in grassroots, there's companies that have motives to invest money into grassroots because that's where they want their brand to live, because that's the consumer. But then I also feel that there's plenty of companies in the higher end, Drift Masters and Formula Drift, where they see their investment worth being, quote unquote, a potential brand of being a championship winning brand in a major series. So I think there's multiple assets of money just sitting around for people to get. And
Yeah,
they have
but
to find out what that person wants.
for
that brand.
instance, like you said about Nitto, right? Like imagine if Nitto came out with an affordable grassroots
Yep.
tire that people could buy. They could definitely do it, but you think they
Oh, for sure,
are?
1,000,000%.
You know what I mean?
Do I think they are? I don't know, because I think they already got what they wanted out of the sport, me personally.
Yeah, but there's always
I-
more, right?
It's up to them, right? Because you got to look at it as businesses, right? You got to look at, does Nitto want to develop a new tire, which means hiring engineers, making molds, testing a product, doing it in a more quantity of 2,000 tires. So that investment to develop a new tire is probably as much as a couple seasons.
Yeah,
So-
but a lot of companies just like to copy too and slap their name on it, which they could definitely do. Like imagine
Yeah, I
just
just don't-
copying like a cheap Lexani tire, $60
So-
a pop for grassroots. They
I'll
could
tell
sell
you
a
this.
shit ton.
Yeah, let me tell you this. So this is, I've been digging into this for a lot. There's actually patents on tread design and compounds for tires.
I believe
And
it.
this is things that people don't see where they do get copied. There's lawsuits happening. And I've been learning so much about tires and brands and things and crossing over, even tire manufacturing, private label for other tires. And it's like, there's a lot of things that people don't know about that are risk of. And I'm sure, of course, we're not going to copy paste anything. But then it's like, do we want to risk that, you risk that then X can happen if you don't allow students to bubble. So I think they play it safe. A lot of companies do play it safe, but I think there's plenty of companies on both sides of the spectrum. You just got to figure out how you can navigate it for that company to make sure you can give them what they're wanting to get out of their investment. Well, I think some of their investment is we want to be players in grassroots. The other investment is we want to potentially be a championship-winning product so we can advertise that.
I get it.
So I want to bring this back to what our original question was, because I think that part's important. I think Will sort of touched on this a little bit because he said not yet a few minutes ago, and it was we were talking about before Will jumped in into the chat was about drivers and participants, going broke in the sport. And so from my perspective of what I was laying foundation for was that at the company level, the investment, and I'm thinking outside of the companies that are in the sport
for sure
as manufacturers. So
you're looking at non-endemic partners, or are you looking at like
non-endemic partners?
Okay, nice.
That's what because to me that's the growth side of the sport. That says
for sure.
If you can get Tide to sponsor a home, then now you've moved into a different market. Now, obviously, Tide isn't going to reach the demographic, but I'm just using that as a gross example. That's where I was going with the separation between the two sports, is that the pro level of drifting has not crossed over because some of the incentives that are necessary. And you actually make a good point on the Nitto and the championship tire, because now they can say, hey, we're a champion in drifting, we're a champion in off-road, we're a champion
in the same tire. Good street, good track, blah, 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 blah.
So that helps the global awareness of the brand for the total consumer market, but not for the specific market in the sport. And so to your point, they probably don't want to manufacture a grassroots tire only for different business reasons. But what I'm saying is, and I think what Will was suggesting as well, is that the sport hasn't evolved enough or matured enough, which is what I'm saying, is it hasn't matured enough on the non-grassroots side to bring in those interests on those partners.
So Formula Drift has been around for over 20-something years.
And it started in Las Vegas, and now we're going back to Las Vegas again.
2004. I actually went to the second round of Formula Drift. So I went to Formula Drift in 2004, I believe it was. Formula Drift Houston at the Reliance Center. That was my first drift event I ever went to, 2004. What year were you born in, Will?
91.
91. Okay, so you're around. There's a lot of people I talk to like, 2004, I wasn't even born yet. I'm like, oh my god, that's the young generation coming around. But you've been around.
Yeah, I've been in the drift scene since like 09.
Yeah, so it's like it's like you hear this, it's like, dude, that's like 22 years ago. What the hell is happening? So it's like you look at it, it's been around for 22, 23 years, right? And then a lot of things you can look at it, but over the past 22 years, and you look at some of these things that, FD, and once again, I love FD, amazing people, right? I still help them, I still talk to Brian Elford, help them connect partners and branding and things like that, help them with the Forza car pack and stuff, so I still have a really good relationship with everybody over there. But it's like, it's been around for 22 years, and Formula G has more drivers, from my understanding, more drivers that have larger total number of than NASCAR. Formula Drift gets more social engagements than multiple higher ranking series or longer term series like NASCAR and a few other ones, right? And this is like, so FD, okay, it may not have the credibility, but it does have, you put it on paper, right? Why would you look at that compared to another? It's like we have more drivers, more eyeballs, more followers. We have a series, Instagram, social media has more engagement, more eyeballs, more numbers. So then what is preventing it?
I feel like it has evolved since, like you said.
That's what I'm saying is like metrics and number-wise. It's like, so then how much more do we need to evolve if we're mainstream, social, the content is the most viral, and if you look at NASCAR, what they do is they highlight the checkered flag and the guys doing donuts at the end.
Well, we're just waiting for all these. We're waiting for all the old people to die. That's what's going on right now.
No, but I just think like number-wise, metrics-wise, it's like we have everything to be super successful. Everybody.
Yeah, but you got all these old heads running all these companies, and when the younger generation takes over that are into these kind of sports,
maybe.
yeah, Like we're kind of like the snowboarders compared to skiers, right? Like we're the outsiders. And right now,
set of tires every lap. Why would you waste that?
but
Yeah, but I think that's changing. As somebody who I'm old enough to remember. Okay, so and I do fit into some of that other category. Though I like to think a younger mindset because I do find this incredibly rewarding and enjoyable on all levels. And I think what you're saying, Will, to a degree is right. And I do think the other thing too that really you have the maturity of series. I mean, there's nothing you can do about NASCAR started in the 50s. IndyCar started in the 1920s, okay? They have the Daytona 500, which gets hundreds of thousands of people and millions of eyeballs at one event, so that's one weekend. And the Indy 500 is one of the largest races in the entire world. And so when you have that as a foundation, that sets them apart. There is also a level of professionalism in those sports as well that transcends from the driver.
That's something I do agree with.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
That professionalism there's a huge difference, and I think a big part of that is the other elements of the feeder. Coming through the feeder systems. And I use just go-karting as the example. It's extremely professional, even at the young level. When you're trying to go, you're going to SCUSA and some of those larger karting events, and you're trying to progress in open wheel racing and other forms of motorsport. The training that the drivers go through for PR and all that stuff. It's a big deal. And
I used to run. Did you know that, Jay? I used to run SCUSA and IKF back in the day.
Yeah, you told me that. Yep.
Oh, go-karting world. Yeah.
So obviously this is all familiar to you, and I think that drifting is kind of now evolving into some of that. And to your point, the social media platforms are the foundation or the basis for that. It's like, hey, we know that the next generation is very tied to the social impact and engagement, and we have that comparative to the other sports. There's no question that that's the case. So it's an interesting experiment of what you're seeing with Cleetus going into NASCAR and bringing that social media platform. And first time seeing a guy allowed to have an in-car camera. They've never allowed that before, but they did it for Cleetus because of the impact in social media that he has. So, they're starting to see some of that reverse value. And drifting needs to stay on top of that and leverage what you said, because I think that part's that's the value proposition for drifting is the social engagement.
definitely, we have a lot of eyes, like Adam LZ. He helps bring a lot of new people to the sport. TJ
100%.
Hunt, a lot of people. Yeah,
100%. I think Adam is probably one of the best ambassadors for the sport, hands down. His connectivity to the audience is extremely valuable. I also think what you're doing, you're not running a pro series or trying to do that, but what you're doing is you're bringing eyeballs to the value and the experience. And I use this example all the time with people. I've never met anybody who got out of a drift car as a ride along and has either not wanted to go get a drift car or at least smiled for the rest of the day. I've never had anyone ride in my race car with me, so I've never had anybody be able to have that experience. But drifting allows for you to connect to the audience, not at the pro level, but it's what creates that passionate fan. I'm one of them. I mean,
I agree.
I've shared this story. Corey knows this story. When I first, just about the time I met Corey, I was racing at Road Atlanta, and there was drifting going on at Lanier, and we were at our camper, and we went across the street to see what was going on. And to that point, I didn't have much understanding of drifting, and I was like, this is incredible. I told all my friends, I said, I'm going to go do this. And now fast forward how many years and look where we are. So
you're doing it.
It's exactly the opposite of what I thought it was. And there's so much enjoyment. I mean, we're watching sim drifting, and the people who are contributing to support this cause are passionate about this sport. And in this case, in the virtual component, but so many of them are also crossover to the real world of drifting as well. And this doesn't exist, everywhere like that,
No,
so.
not at all. So many opportunities. That's why there's so much opportunity in this industry, and for me, it's like we talked about. We've all been doing this for a long time, and it's also adapting to what the industry is doing instead of being stubborn on what the industry is doing. And if the industry moves, you got to move with the industry. And you can't just be like, well, I'm just going to kind of keep doing this, and then you get left behind, or you don't adapt as things change and you kind of get left out. And that's one thing that I've always done with my career in motorsports and drifting, is adapting or projecting what changes are coming and how I could be ahead of it to have sustainability. Because I think that's what everybody wants. Everybody's like, man, I want to make a living in drifting. My goal is to drift and, have fun and make a living off this, where I don't have to work full time to go broke to go race. But that's adapting and understanding what the market's doing and what the industry's doing. And that's always one thing that I always put priority, was just like, I want to do this for a long time, not a short time. And because I enjoy it so much. And we've seen all of us in here has seen people come in the series, come into a grassroots event, they blow their wad, spend everything, and they're like, fuck, I have to get out. And it's like, I never wanted to get out. I always wanted to stay. So I always try to figure out, what can I do to sustain myself for as long as I possibly can? And a lot of people are like, oh, you've done all this stuff. You didn't win a, FD championship, and you did okay or not so good in FD and stuff like that. But to me, it's like, I'm still winning. I've won from day one because I'm still doing it every day.
I agree. Like, for instance, that's why I kind of started this slide through news thing. I want to be a part of it. Thank you. I want to be a part of drifting for the long haul. People don't even know I drive until they see, they're like, whose 240 is that on your page? I'm like, bro, that's mine. Like, I've been in the game for a minute now. I drive myself.
Yeah.
I just don't chase it because I don't want to spend, $5,000 a round trying to do hot pit or doing like that.
Yeah.
But if I had a backing, then that's another story. And that's where sponsors come in. But people see what I do with Slide Through News, and they still don't want to be a part of it. They'd rather sponsor that chick that gets, a couple million views on their video, opposed to someone that's actually in the game. So that's where I hope to see things change in the future.
For me personally, it's like when I got out of Formula Drift and things like that, I was talking to Sam and Paco, and I was like, man, I don't think I'm going to be drifting this year, so what I'm going to do? And that's when we started Maximum Driftcast. We literally started Maximum Driftcast because we had a discussion of like, hey, we're going to take a break from competing, but what can we do to stay in the scene? And so that's when we started the Driftcast, we saw podcasts were taking off. There was no drifting podcast. We had the resources we created from drifting, but it allowed us to be relevant, but also gave us another product to make us promotable.
Oh, your guys' stuff is sick, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No, that means a lot. But once again, that's just an idea of adapting when we knew it's like, okay, we may not make it, but let's do something else. But I think people get stubborn. I've had multiple conversations with multiple FD drivers where they're very stubborn to go broke to get a carbon trophy. When I'm like, dude, I'll buy you a carbon trophy for $200 and put your name on it. We want you to be drifting for another 15 years. You know what I mean? Like,
well, look at perfect example, Forrest Wang. He got out of FD, and now he's driving more than he's ever driven before. And now he's going to be at Slush Motorsports next weekend.
Yep.
And he still has sponsors.
Being taken care of. The dude's crushing it. And do you know what he does? I was just with Forrest. He has a big toter home, big stacker, 4-car hauler, FD rig. He loads his family up, and he travels the country.
Yeah, that's my boy. I used to kick it with him all the time.
Yeah, and it's like, if that's not winning, then what is?
Oh, that's definitely winning. He's doing it right.
It's winning, dude. Forrest is winning on the ultimate level. And to me, that's what winning is as well. Sustainability. And, looking at the Forrest route and a bunch of other guys who didn't go broke eating cup of noodles, which we all have, right? We all have. It's, once again, I want drivers and these athletes to have a longevity in the sport to where they can have sustainability to make money and make drifting profitable for drivers. Like, I care about that.
Yep, I agree. The first thing I do if I ever start making money through Slide Through News, I already talked to my wife about it. I'm gonna rent out Apple Valley Speedway for a driver's day, invite everybody out where they don't have to pay to drive, and then spectators just $10 to get in, come hang out.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity.
That's the goal.
And there's a lot of resource behind that. Yeah, it's an amazing goal, dude. That's huge.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
thought,
think there's a lot of momentum in drifting.
yeah, I thought of Slide Through News just because of I don't know if you ever seen it, Skate Line on Thrasher. Yeah, so like I took that
Yeah,
idea.
dude.
I was like, somebody could do that for drifting. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it.
There it is, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just once again adapting and doing something that fills a void.
Yeah, the main goal, it would be tied to start working with FD and become an announcer, but they got so many good people behind the scenes doing that already. And Jacob, he's great
Yeah,
at
Jacob
it.
Crush. Yeah, Jacob does really well, and he does Drift Masters too.
Yeah,
Which
very
is-
well
yeah, Jake-
spoken.
Yeah, I remember when Jacob started Piston Head Productions, which was his very first podcast after Maximum Driftcast started. Me, Paco, and Sam were like, dude, that's exciting. You know, another potential drifting podcast was Jacob's. And Jacob would always chime in on our Discord and feed news, go back and forth. And then, you know, me, Sam, and Paco, we started the Formula Drift halftime show. We ran that for 2 years, got out of it, and Jacob brought it back. And FD brought it back. And Jacob's the perfect candidate for it because he's knowledgeable, he sits time, he researches, and he's a great person that can communicate well. But once again, he's another dude that can adapt and make changes and keep chasing it.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that's, the core. And I think, kind of using your example, Corey, and knowing you as long as I've known you at this point is, seeing that adaptability to what's going on. And, the last year and now into what you're working on this year is a testament to that, not only adaptability, but the commitment to bring that vision to life. And I think that's at the end of the day, that's the message that most people need to, whatever your objective is find your way through that
Yep.
effort. I laughed at something you were saying before, which was, it's always going to be work, right? It's
Yep.
it's just different work.
Yep.
You might not be digging a hole for the power company, but you're going to be chasing partners, and you're going to be chasing time here or there. So it's you get to enjoy a certain aspect of it, but the work is 90% the reason why there's a result. So,
My big thing that I've been seeing over the years, and I'm sure you may have seen this too, Will, but there's a lot of people who are not necessarily create loyalty to brands.
Oh yeah, dude,
No.
that's the beginning of time, like with skateboarding, dude. They'll
Brand to
they'll
brand to
jump-
brand. Somebody
Yep.
gives you $1 more. You leave that other brand you're with for 5 years to make $1 more. Somebody gives you an extra wheel. You go to that brand even though you. And me personally, I truly believe that brand hoppers or people that are just are chasing the shiny thing is the one that's also hurting the sport more too. A lot of these people, including myself early on, we were all very young at the time. We always take, we always just take what we can get, whatever. But it's like, that affects so much that it's like, now it's important to be with a brand that may give you one less wheel, but you've been with them for 15 years. You know what I mean? And that's what we want. But there's too many situations where people be with the brand, the next year down a new brand, the next year down a new brand, or they burn this brand for this. And I think the inexperience on maintaining relationships is what hurts the series more than anything
I agree.
on all levels.
Yeah, I'm
I
still
think the other
rocking.
side too. The other side to this too is that this is my personal opinion, is there's a stepwise approach to this. Is going in and asking for the home run up front will hurt your credibility because you've not proven your ability to necessarily deliver for that partner or that brand as well. So the loyalty part I think is important, but also recognizing that you need to proof of concept matters.
Yeah, and I think if you do it enough, to your point, it's like if you do it enough, like Jay, you've been in drifting with me for 40 years, it's easy for you to walk in and like, hey, I'm Jay, I'm doing this. Once you guys are part of the program, this is what we're doing. People gonna look at you like, oh, that's Jay. I know Jay. He's delivered on everything. He's a great guy because he's built that relationship with them visually seeing for 20, 30 years. But so I think a seasoned vet has a lot more flexibility as far as asking for a home run. But there's too many people that didn't build up the credibility at asking for home runs.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that happens quite often. Is it's like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
this is what the expectation is now, and then there's no result. So at the industry events and the conversations that we have with, the different members of the companies, some of the we tried that before, and we're a little bit leery on that conversation, and we're not sure yet. I mean, and that's a function of somebody doing that in the past, right?
Yeah.
So your concept and your execution are extremely good.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with the. Oh, go ahead. You're good.
No, go ahead. Well, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say like brand loyalty and stuff like that. Like I've been rocking a Prisma Lab wheel before I was even like a part of the Prisma Lab and NRG team, and then talking with the guys and just repping for 2 years straight, and then getting on their little program they started to full blown
Yeah.
like them actually messing with the channel. They want me to advertise on the channel. It's deliverables. Before they even asked, I said, hey, can I throw your guys' logo on the TV as like the sponsor for the channel without even getting anything in return? And then doing that, and then them more, hey, what do you need for your car? And then I was like, you know what? I have a passenger seat just chilling in my garage, and I have 2 great seats. They match my car already. I don't really want to mix match my seats, but if we can come up with a solution and get a driver's seat in the car, I'll put that NRG passenger seat back in, and I'll rock only NRG and Prisma Lab product. And
Yeah.
that was done right away. Hey, this is what we
Amazing.
can do. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
you delivered a great proof of concept too. Like, hey, I'm just gonna do this to help the homies out. Like the brand will do some fun, see what happens.
Oh yeah, the guys just hanging out with them at like the UDC events and all that. Like Darren's one of the photographers. The list goes on and on. The guys are just super cool over there. So I like people that support grassroots all the way up to the pros.
Do you guys want us to go to hot take real quick?
Yeah, do it.
Let's do hot take. Jay, you want to do hot take real quick?
Yeah, let's go.
What's your hot take? Oh, this is gonna be. I just want to hear your input because I have a projection. But what's your guys' current take on like social media marketing and social media with motorsports and stuff?
Like in what aspect?
Just I've had this gut feeling for the past few months, and I'm just kind of putting feelers out there now that I feel a lot of social media now has become personal ads. A lot of people are not using it for a social network, but people are now using it as a promotional network. And I feel that there's an absolute abundance of social media content on social media that's affecting basically the influence on purchasing items because there's so much social influence. From
Yeah.
people saying, oh, buy this product, it's the best product, buy this product.
And it's
Everybody on social
garbage.
media now is not doing, everybody now is not doing like drift reels or just communicating with the camera, just saying, hey, that's what I'm doing this weekend. Everybody's always promoting something. It's oversaturated. So this is my theory, Jay, is now I think consumers are going to start turning away from social purchases and suggestions and get more experience with hands-on. I think you'll see more people at events wanting to see, touch, feel the product rather than being influenced by 100,000 people saying buy 50 different products.
I agree
And I have
to
a-
an extent.
I have a feeling we're going to see a big change in the next year, year and a half how consumers purchase.
I think
I
people
actually-
are. Oh, you go first, Jay.
No, I was actually going to say this before. I said one of the things that I've had this opportunity to experience this with you personally, Corey, and so I guess this sort of validates your point and kind of goes against the hot takes perspectives of view on this. But I believe one of the great advantages of doing the circuit that you're doing is that messaging that you're talking about actually does exist. Connectivity to the audience is a face-to-face thing. It's a sales versus marketing kind of a concept.
Yep.
In that when people come to where you are at the event and they engage with you as a personality, there's a connectivity to that, and that can only be done through. That social media has diluted that too. So I'm more in agreement with you than not in some regard. In that being able to have those face-to-face interactions and really create that experiential relationship with people will influence decisions. I think it does anyway. I think that's more of a historical value
Yeah.
than
And I want to highlight one thing too. And I think the reason why I say this is because rejection of an opportunity, right? So this is all I'm getting at. No one reason why I say I'm not, this is just an open dialogue that I've been thinking about if I want to book you guys spring. But it's like social media has turned into a more of a influencer purchase, or I got this part, buy this part, get this part, I have this part, I get this part, which is great, but that's instant abundance. But I think, let's use NRG for example as a seed company, right? You have people promoting 10 different brands, you have people promoting NRG, but it's like now people watch that, consume that all day long. They go to an event, they see Will, they can kind of walk up to the car, see the NRG seeds, sit in it, feel it. Now you're probably going to get a purchase if you can experience it rather than being torn between 10 different brands. So I think the conversation that I wanted to get to is, I think it's opening a door for people to get ahead of it, to leverage that to partners to say, hey, I'm doing more events, but now I'm going to get your product in the hands of people that are going to be more likely consumers than battling the 1 million posts of people selling you other brands.
I agree, because I have people come out to the Vegas Drift events and I let them sit in the car, and not a lot of people let people sit in their cars, for instance. And like I have people, like high school kids will come up and this is a true story. A girl was taking photos in the car with her dad, and I said, hey, you guys like the car? You can sit in it, take some photos, whatever, blah blah blah. And then she's like, oh, I told her, I was like, you like drifting? She's like, yeah, I do, but I'm only 16. I'm still in high school. I'm just looking into these things. I was like, you know what? We're about to do our parade lap. If it's cool with your pops, you can hop in the car. I'll take you out on the track for the parade lap. The whole day she was talking about my car. So that right there, like she already has the seats in mind, the steering wheel in mind, a 240 in mind. Obviously a 240 by the time she gets 18 is probably going to be unattainable. It's probably going to be like a 350Z. But then NRG's at every Hot Kid Auto Fest event. They're at Apple Valley Speedway all the time. They do drivers clinics. So like they're like your point. They're at events showing off the product. You get to see it. You get to touch it. It's not just that influencer saying, hey, buy this, and then they don't even put it in their car.
I feel like consumers, Jay, and I just feel like consumers are losing trust because there's so much product being pushed.
Agreed.
I don't disagree with you. Yeah, I agree more than I don't.
So what I'm getting at is like there's not just push social side, but push a physical side. And I think that's where once again adapting comes in. Is like, Jay, you're pretty well informed. Like, I know you listen to a lot of, what is it, Anthony Elliott or the Elliott dude and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, a bunch of guys like that. A lot of
you listen to people that have strategies, concepts, and ideas, right? Just to kind of get a feel for the market. And I was listening to a couple people on just economics and social and stuff like that. And they literally said, social media is not social media anymore. It's not people posting personal lives, personal fun events all the time. It's people shoveling cells.
Yep.
And it's like, I swear. And you know what I did? I went on Instagram, bro, like a few minutes later, and I literally scrolled through. And I'm watching it every now and then. You'll get like, hey, I'm out here driving, and then it's like, yeah, I just got this part, and then it's somebody working on the car. Hey, I'm installing this exhaust, and it's like, turning you to sell on social media. That's not social anymore. It's weird. Yeah, it's triggered in my brain until I'm like, somebody was mentioning that. But even then, it's like getting ahead of it and understanding, like, that's a really good point. Like, it's not social anymore. It's ad media.
Yeah, and then half these people you don't even see going to events. Like, there's only a handful of people that actually drive their cars at events, opposed to just doing garage videos, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm, once again, that's just another thing I'm going to start adapting and start looking at changing, is how I handle my social media, to make sure I try to stay true to my social media and make it social media and not add continuous ads. I want my media to be a highlight of me as a person when I do one, and not me shoveling pucks out of the streets.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna try that.
some people asked me, they were like, how come you don't start like a new Instagram for Slide Through News alone? And I was like, because it's me. I'm the host. I started making me a part of my Instagram because you're still going to see the car content. You're still going to see some skateboarding here and there. But I'm Slide Through News. It's not going
Yep.
anywhere. It's not getting sold to somebody. Like, that's me.
Yep.
So, and
Yeah.
it's easier just to keep growing that way opposed to like starting over.
Yeah.
And I'm not, the only thing I'm shoveling down people's throats is like new driver, new media to check out, and events every
No, it's
weekend.
news.
Yeah,
it's news.
exactly.
Literally, it's news. Yeah, but that's consumable content. It's not hashtag ad. I don't know, I just think, once again, that's just another projection that I've been looking at recently, and I just thought it was interesting. Just to hear your guys' perspective on what you take on the current state of social media. Is it still social media, or is it not social media?
No,
It
it's ads.
It affects motorsports. It really does affect motorsports. It affects how we hustle brands. It affects how, a company comes in. It's like, oh, what's your social life? What's this? Assuming that they're going to get that reach of your audience. But it's like, here's the thing is, if I'm always pushing brands, it's like people now process my page as me just shoveling parts. And it's like, I don't want that. I want to build trust with my audience again. And nothing I do. Trust, I'm the worst at social media anymore. I don't post because I'm doing a much different route. But it's something interesting that came up on how it could affect drifting in motorsport, but also look at it as an opportunity.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think individually, blending and making that point, you're personalizing your social media to be the connection as well as so the connection in social to, hey, I'm going to be at this event, come through, right? And then now
Yep.
you're making a personal connection to the audience, and then that's where the connectivity is. So you're being true to your social media. I think there's a balance in there. It's finding what that balance looks like in order to meet deliverables. Because I think one of the challenges that needs to be addressed is that the deliverables are critically important to justify your proof of concept. And so within that, there is some social media requirement, but it's okay. What percentage of that is sacrifice, or selling out yourself, for the ad and compromising the conversation using the social media platform?
So I got another example for you guys. I don't know how you guys feel about BC coilovers, but my boy Marco runs the warehouse out here in Las Vegas, but BC is like the staple of grassroots driving and wheels and pros. They're at all the
Yeah, they
events.
crush.
Marco's at Vegas Strip. If somebody has a question about coilover setup or anything, he's right there to answer questions like it's his company. They're at FD with, coilovers. They're giving stuff away. So they're not just like shoving, or their influencers aren't just trying to sell the product, but they're actually using the product and they're testing
sure.
it all the time. So that's like a company right there. Like, I don't even have BCs on my car, but I want to put them on my car because of like what they stand for, which is dope.
Hell yeah.
And you
they're
get to
great.
touch them.
Yeah, and you get to see them like touch, look, feel, smell, taste. Oh, these are nice. Yep, I like these.
And people talk so much shit about BC, but then like I don't see those other companies at events talking to their people or consumers or their drivers.
It's all old school. It's all old school. Yeah, it's all old school sales and marketing, huh, Jay?
100%. And I mean, BC's phenomenal with their customer service as well. I mean, there's my experience with dealing with them. We have BC's on 4 cars, and their customer service, their follow through, and all of that, it makes the sales experience and something of high value as a consumer.
And the only other company that comes close right now is Steel Suspension, and that's because he does those setup days at ABS. He's out there trying to help you set up your car. He's one with the community, so like those two companies right there. I would stand behind, and I don't even rock them on my car.
Got it.
Well, I just want to, while you guys are here, I just want to bring an update to our totals. We've actually had some donations come through, and I think we've eclipsed
Hell yeah.
the 25.
Sick.
Real quick. So one of the things that was really cool when we put together the 36 hours is that this was going to be an organic donation system. We weren't going to be relying on anybody, bringing in big money or anything for this part of it. And the community has not let us down. We cannot be more grateful for the donations of all the people who come through, spent time in the server. Some that have just wanted to make donations because they've either been impacted by or have a family member or friend that's been impacted by pancreatic cancer. So it's been awesome being able to have you guys come on and have these conversations. I want to just share real quickly where we are with this. Bear with me because I had it on screen and then it reset. So,
Oh,
but,
good, dude.
we're up over the $2,500 for this 36-hour event, which we've never done before. So,
Super dope idea.
yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I was giving Corey a little credit earlier. I don't know if you heard this, but back in 2020 when COVID hit, Corey and I were talking on his live stream one time. He's like, I'm going to be doing some sim comps. You need to come through on these things. And so that goes back to the COVID era. And I said, yes, this is sort of the idea that we want to go with this. Thanks to the ACS boys, Fergie with the BDC, V4 cars, all of my internal team, all our friends that have come on as guests, yourselves included, have made this a special, inaugural 36-hour sim experience. So we look forward to doing it again for sure. So just wanted to give that update because we just had a handful of donations.
Amazing.
I was stoked when
community
you
involved.
offered for me to be on it, man. I really appreciate you thinking of me for the community.
Absolutely. I think since I met you at UDC a year and a half ago, and what you do is slide through, and I just think I want to bring in people to the point that we've been talking about this entire conversation is that there's a lot of passionate people, three of which are here on this conversation that really care about the community and what's going on. We want to continue to. I have a little different sense of it, and Corey will feel this pretty soon, and Gabe is sitting here with his newborn baby as well. But my son's 24, and I want him to have the same opportunity to experience motorsports and specifically drifting. And I get to bang doors with my kid now, and there's nothing more enjoyable than doing that. So my rationale behind a lot of what we do is I want my son and his friends and the younger generation to see how great this sport is. And I think, Corey, you brought it up at the early part of the conversation. The barrier to entry is pretty low, right? And so we're here to help perpetuate that conversation. And I think, Will, you also do a lot to communicate that information and at all levels, from the very grassroots level all the way up to the pro level of information. So doing the same. So,
I try to tell people, man, like, you'll see all these kids, like, I need 500 horsepower. I'm like, you know what? You need to buy a stock 350Z or something in that caliber, weld a diff, and just hit grassroots events until you need more upgrades. Then slowly upgrade your car. Yeah, I've heard that, a few times. It's crazy. So many people are like, I need an LS, fucking 240SX, or a JZ. I'm like, you need C-time.
well, fortunately, there's options, and I think that's the message. Going back to everything we just talked about a few minutes ago, it's like when you're out. I mean, Corey, your car is well developed at this point. It is a serious machine, but you've also drifted cars that are far less developed than that. Like, hey, you start here and you can end up here, And so to that same point, that's the beauty of the sport. You don't need, a $70,000 race car to go drifting. Take a 350Z, a few minor changes. I mean, that's what we did with Patrick's car. The car was a $3,000 Z with upgrade, including VCs, and he's been drifting it for 4 years now with no issues. It's let's create these opportunities. Everybody that we know is doing it in a different way, and I think that's one of the fun parts about it. We never get tired of talking about it. And number two, the passion just comes through, which Will, absolutely glad to have you. You're welcome to join me in the future as well. So
Yeah, man. Anytime you throw an invite my way, I'll be there. I like what
So
you
Jay,
guys
let
do.
me ask you. So how
Yeah,
much
buddy.
time do you have left on your 36 hours?
What are we at? We have 1 hour to go, guys.
Sick.
Yeah, we're 5 minutes away from the 35th hour. So.
There you go. Well, on that, I'm gonna let you guys chop it up. I gotta go take care of the young one. Congratulations, Jay. See you doing well. We'll get you a little bit. Will, it was always a pleasure, dude.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having a conversation.
Yeah, always, bro. Yeah, have fun, Jay, and I'll talk to you in the restaurant. We'll chat.
Yes, sir, man. I'll hit you up this week.
There you go.
See you, my dude. Bye.
Damn, Jay, you know everybody, bro.
Yeah, I've been very blessed and very fortunate. I told the story very loosely about how I got exposed to drifting, and that's a true story. And I spent 5 hours watching grassroots drifting at Lanier on a Friday night. And I was like, this is insane. I want to do this, So after investing, most of my adult life in the road racing, so
Yeah.
hey, I want to go do that. And I still road race, but I find drifting so enjoyable. Like I said, the first time my son linked a series of corners and he jumped out of his car, the hugs and the smiles, it was pretty awesome. An experience that I'll never forget.
Oh yeah, man, it's dope, or it's so sick. Like just seeing people's smiles at drift events, just getting to sit in a drift car. So I couldn't imagine watching my son link a whole course and then hopping out being just as like people just watching.
Yeah, and we've had this progression over time. I've had this conversation with Corey over the last couple of years, and Jimmy, especially Jimmy. He and I have talked about this a lot over the last several years. Is now Patrick and we're getting on each other's door. Now we're doing more complex courses together, upgrading our cars to be we're not going from 300 to 700 horsepower. It's I believe in the progression, and I want to enjoy the progression. I'm not trying to go pro. Personally, I want to enjoy the progression of not only my personal skills but also the development of our cars to match that skill development. And we spend pretty much every December now at Drifting. So December for the last 7 years this year, I think. And my friend Ryan Downey, he's the one that's like the Super Bowl of drifting across course. And every year we're learning a new track together, and then getting tighter and tighter with each other. And hopefully he'd like to do some comps. So I think it'd be a fun way to see him progress. So that's, for me, that's a big part of the message. The charitable side is really important. Is you share it and seeing young people progress, chase the sport, and enjoy it. I mean, coming from skateboarding, you can speak to this. The creativity side of this sport, whether it be style and driving or style and car, or a combination of both, sort of lends to that interest, coming from that background.
Oh, definitely.
I think that's what makes grassroots drifting really fun is that element to it.
The only difference with drifting opposed to like skateboarding, the community's more accepting of drifting.
Definitely, yeah.
There's a lot of haters in skateboarding and like that.
Yeah, what do you attribute that to? I have my thoughts on it. And I grew up in the era of the Bones Brigade, so that's, I remember when that was a thing, when it was brand new, So
Probably just people's egos, honestly. They think they're better than everybody else. Like, for instance, I don't have a lot of people share my shit on Instagram or anything like that, so I wanted to be the voice for the people to share their stuff that don't get the audience that they could have. That's kind of why I started Slide Through News too. Like, there's too many haters.
You're saying too many haters in drifting?
No, skateboarding
Oh, and
and
skateboarding.
like action
Yeah.
sports. I mean, there are some in like drifting and stuff. Like, not a lot of people share their friends, which I think they need to. I have a few friends that I always see them posting my videos on the stories and stuff like that, but there's a lot of people that, like, let's take Daily 30, right? He drifts every UDC round, and you don't really see a lot of content unless he's posting it.
Right.
Like, not a lot of people share his shit, but he's a great driver and a cool dude.
Yeah, and a cool dude. Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, definitely. So, I've been fortunate enough to have relationships on both coasts. Being an East Coast guy, but I really kind of got into this with West Coast relationships, and so again, to spend time with you guys out in California. Yeah, he's a good dude for sure.
Yeah. I just wish, it's getting better. The only thing that I think I was going to talk to you about it when he was on the stream a second ago, is the only thing we're battling right now with drifting is like the takeover scene.
Definitely.
We're getting a lot of backlash for it, especially out in Vegas. But then the more I talk to cops and the more cops see like real drifting and stuff like that, they're kind of like, oh shit, they're not associated with these guys. So we're kind of trying to break that barrier a little bit.
Yeah, I was. We actually had this conversation offline yesterday during the stream with a couple of people, and this is not the first time, but I've been asked, kind of by virtue of some of the things that we do, multiple times by groups, to say, hey, is there anything that you can do to help, with what's going on in that scene? And I've said the downside or the challenge with that I face is that they're not into that for the passion of what we're doing. They're not into it for the passion of the sport. They're into it for a different reason. And it's hard for me to convey the value and the passion of what, and the enjoyment that comes from what we're doing and from our perspective, to someone with a mentality that isn't really focused on developing the skills or learning how to be a better drifter, or how to get their son to be 2 inches from their door, and that kind of stuff. It's a very challenging mindset, and I've had that conversation with a few area cops in our place. And in fact, unfortunately, due to that, I've decided I don't really want to do or host car show things. I'd rather do motorsports activities, because I'm in that world where we all share the same value. So yeah, it is a challenge for sure.
Yeah.
As someone who owns several JDM cars as well, I've been caught up in some of those, identification situations, you know what I mean? And fortunately, I look old enough that I don't look like I participate in that, but
exactly.
It just happens because now they're sort of, they're reacting now, because it's happening so often, so.
Yeah, I've been daily driving my car a little bit, and you've seen how it looks. It's very loud as far as like the looks on it and whatnot. But there was a JDM car meet here in Vegas, and cops came, but they just kind of cruised through, looked at the cars, and then took off. And when I see a cop on the street, they just look at my car and they go the other way. I think they're starting to recognize, like, okay, this guy's just a car enthusiast. He's just cruising. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then same thing with like Vegas Drift. We don't allow anybody to join the event and pass tech unless they have full body panels on their car. What happens on track afterwards, that it is what it is. But to pass tech, you have to have all body panels. And I think that helps kick out the takeover kids as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's probably a little bit different where you are. You have weather that's good all year long, so you don't have to. You're not it's not. We have the winter, so we sort of lose, and we've had a pretty heavy winter snow-wise, so we lose some of that. But the spring brings the momentum and the, and then they sort of come out because they're restless and that kind of a thing. And I can remember there's a few tracks in the Northeast who've opened up their doors to help mitigate some of this problem, and they're just not really interested in it for the reasons that we talked about. But I think that's a great way to help say, hey, listen, for me, if someone came to me and they were like genuine and say, hey, this isn't really something I want to do. Well, here's what you'd need to do. And I think you would probably say the same. It's like, hey, your car needs to be this spec in order to do it. And then, you need to be honest with yourself that this is what you genuinely care about, that the sport is more important than the clicks,
Oh,
So
dude, it's
that's
all about. I think takeover shit is all about clout chasing.
100%. Yeah, I don't think anyone would disagree.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because anytime there's a takeover, either somebody gets shot, somebody gets ran over. It's a bunch of nonsense.
Well, it's the escalation theory, In the beginning, it didn't happen like that, and then everything everything elevates to the next level, to the next level. I mean, even skateboard tricks, right? Before the 900, the 540 was a big deal, then the 720, and then et cetera. So that's more of a positive, but the same thing holds true in these other circumstances as well.
And now you have little kids doing 1080s like nothing.
Yeah, exactly, without even thinking about it, right? So. But yeah, I mean, fortunately for us, the people that we are connected to and that you and I each know respectively, we are all in it for the right reasons, and that's what makes this special. I mean,
Oh, totally agree,
I'm
man.
I'm watching our live stream we have a secondary monitor and the live stream's on, and the people are just out here getting doors, man. It's like we're over here talking about it, and these guys are over here doing it on the sim while we're chatting away. So, I couldn't be happier that this is not only a productive environment, but one that's helping other people along the way at the same time. So, but I'm gonna say thank you, and I want to stay in touch with you. I actually wanted to catch up with you before Vegas round of FD, so we can set some time to spend some time together.
Yeah,
And,
man. If you come out early, let me know. I'm off typically Wednesday through Saturday.
Okay, cool. That gives me some flexibility.
Yeah, so like if you come in early, let me know. Go grab dinner, go grab lunch, whatever. I'll be around.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I'm gonna plan to do that so we can connect and yeah, I hope I'll see you before that, somewhere on the West Coast. But if not, let's plan for that.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, brother. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Good job on the
All right.
stream. The quality was super good. I've been popping in and out. Good job.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yes,
Look
sir.
forward to doing it again. All right. Enjoy. Have a great night.
You too, bro. Bye.
All right.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for the stream. I will be back on in just a little bit. I got to eat real quick. I'll be live probably all night tonight, so I will be back on. That was just the interview with Ignition Speed for their 36-hour Matsuri event. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys were watching, I will be back on here.